Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Arlington. My name is Gail Curran, and I am pleased to serve on the Board of Trustees. Unitarian Universalism is a faith that believes that great good comes from wide diversity. Here at UUCA, we strive to be a community that welcomes all, regardless of who you are, whom you love, whatever your background, abilities, or beliefs. We're very glad you're joining us this morning. Whether you're a longtime member like I am, a once-in-a-while attendee, or a visitor for the first time, you are welcome. We hope you will find here with us the inspiration and community you are seeking. Please join us for coffee hour in the center next door or online after the service so we can get to know you better. The theme for the month of November is change. I have been here at UCA through many changes, from having RE classes in a now demolished building that used to be in the parking lot, to having classrooms and meeting rooms here in our wonderful building. We've had changes in ministers and styles of governance, changes in staff, structure, changes in membership. We've weathered it all through joy and pain at times, but next year look forward to celebrating the 75th anniversary of our beloved church. We hope many of you will be involved with that celebration. I'm looking forward to our service today, hopeful that our wonderful ministers will help us find ways to stay true to our UU values while we weather the ongoing and presumed upcoming changes in our country. Before I close, I want to close on a happy note. I want to announce and celebrate our youth who yesterday collected 150 coats and many, many pounds of food. Their goal was 100 coats, so they did really well. Thanks to their effort, more people will be warm and well-fed this winter. They're truly a wonderful bunch.
Hello, hello. There we are. This morning's call to worship was adapted from words originally written by Gordon McKeon. I stretch forth my hand, knowing not what I shall touch. A tender spot, an open wound, warmth, pulsing life, fragile blossoms, perhaps a rock. I stretch forth my hand, but I am tentative, trembling, wishing to avoid hurt of any kind. I'm wanting to link my life with yours. I desire companions. I long for defenders. I want to be found and to be heard. But will I touch strangers or touch no one? Will I make friends or will I make enemies? I desire, I long, I seek community. I am lonely, though. I am fearful. Sometimes I am lost. I stretch forth my hand and I grasp your tentative, trembling hand. I stretch forth my hand, knowing not what I shall touch, but always, always hoping. For you see, if there ever was a time for a candle in the darkness, it is now. Together, we seek a spark of hope. We kindle the flame of love. We ignite the light of peace. We feed the flame of justice with our work. Together, we come for the bonds of community. We come. We come for this gathering. We come for these people. We come on Sunday to worship together. Let us do exactly that.
This morning, as every week, we light our candle of compassion in solidarity with those experiencing loss, violence, loneliness, and grief. This week in particular, we light our candle in gratitude for all who are working to ensure safe and fair elections in this country, and in solidarity and love with all of us whose rights and bodies are on the line as we make decisions together. and we join our Unitarian Universalist siblings around the world in lighting our chalice. I invite you to join me in the words for the chalice lighting found in your order of service. We gather together as a community of memory and hope to celebrate life and its infinite possibilities for love. We light this chalice as a symbol of the light within every human heart. May our individual sparks meet and merge, bringing both light and warmth to the world.
In the gray hymnal, we are a gentle, angry people. We'll be singing verses 1, 2, 5, and 6. And so that verse 6 is all the sweeter, please give us just a couple of measures of an interlude between verse 5 and 6.
Oh, an interlude.
Wow.
That's it.
We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a justice-loving people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a justice-loving people, and we are singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing for our lives.
Is it time for the story? It's time for this story, yes. So in your order of service, there's a bit of a fib. It says I'm going to do a wisdom lesson about voting. I am not. I decided instead I wanted to talk to the children and to all of you about the golden rule. So if you want to be part of our wisdom lesson, now's the time. Please come forward. The young and the young at heart are welcome right down here. Hi, guys. Have a seat. Awesome. Hello. Ooh, nice headband. Hello. Do you guys know what the golden rule is? Anybody? Yes? You don't know what it is? Okay. Do you know what it is?
To be kind.
To be kind. Yep, that's part of the golden rule. Anybody over here? Do you guys know what the golden rule is? Yes? Treat others the way that you want to be treated. How does that sound? Yeah?
It's also on the page.
It says that on the page, doesn't it? Oh my. There's a story here. So I'm going to read you all the story and then we'll talk about it while I'm reading too. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. A boy and his grandfather stood on a city sidewalk looking up at those words printed on a giant billboard. "Grandpa, why does it say that?" said the little boy. "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you." "Well, people all over the world say that's the golden rule," said the grandpa. "Well, what does it mean? And why is it golden?" Well, it means this, like you guys said, treat people the way you would like to be treated. It's golden because it's so valuable, because it helps us live our lives. It's so simple, it shines. Grandfather looked at the boy, and they went down the sidewalk to another billboard. This billboard said, "Do nothing to other people that you would not like having done to you." Is that part of the golden rule? Said the little boy. Well, yes, together they work really well. Can anybody practice the golden rule? Said the little boy. So here's a question for you guys. Can anybody practice the golden rule?
Yeah.
Yeah? What do you think? Yes? 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 Oh, yes.
I learned you unto others in my class.
In your class. How could you practice the golden rule in your class?
Well, I could do pretty good.
You could do pretty good with it? What is something you might do in your class that's like the golden rule? What is something you might say or do with someone else that's in class with you? You don't know? How could you be nice to someone in your class? Say that again? Hard. What else? Oh, yeah? Say it louder. The good deeds. Do good deeds. What were you going to say? Treat people the way you want them to treat you, right? Yep. Let's read a little bit more. Yes, anyone can practice the golden rule, said Grandpa. It's a rule that's the same for children and for grown-ups. Same rule, said the little boy. Well, there aren't too many rules like that. Yes, said Grandpa, there's very few. And it's for people everywhere, said the little boy. Grandpa stroked his chin and he said, yes, everywhere. Whatever their religion, people find the idea of the golden rule in their holy books. Christianity says you should love your neighbor as you love yourself. Judaism says what is hateful to you, do not do to your fellow humans. Islam says hurt no one so that no one may hurt you. Hinduism also preaches about the golden rule. This is the sum of duty, to do nothing to others which would cause them pain. The Shawnee tribes say, do not kill or injure your neighbor, for it is not he or she that you injure. You injure yourself instead. And lastly, from Buddhism, do not do to others what would hurt you. The boy and his grandfather sat there on the park bench, and the boy thought really hard. So, Grandpa, how can I start to practice this thing called the golden rule? Well, use your imagination, said Grandpa. What do you mean, my imagination? And this is where you guys can help me. Imagine how somebody else feels when they're new and they join your class. What do you think somebody feels like when they're brand new in your class? Yes. Shy and a little afraid. Yes?
Maybe worried that they won't have any friends.
Maybe worried they won't have any friends. What do you think? Concerned. Over here. Yes.
Nervous.
Nervous. Yes.
They don't have a desk.
They might not have a desk. Could that be a little scary? Yeah, that could be scary. Yeah? You don't know? How would you feel if you were new in a class? Would you be scared? Yeah? You would want to have fun? Would you want to make new friends? Yes, I see one more hand. Right there? Okay. New kids always look a little bit scared, said the boy. I guess so, said Grandpa. Wouldn't you be scared if it was you? Oh, yes. But what would make you feel better? Well, if someone smiled at me, if someone asked me to play with them, if someone said I could be their friend. You got it, said Grandpa. I bet you can think of other ways that you would like to be treated too. and other ways you wouldn't want to be treated. Tell me something. When you're teased, how do you feel? How does that make you guys feel if somebody teases you? Yes.
Sad.
Sad
Or maybe scared.
or scared, yeah?
Angry and disappointed.
Angry and disappointed. When somebody teases you guys, how do you feel? Yes. A little worried, maybe?
No, like, they would be scared.
Yeah, you'd be scared. Yeah?
Annoyed.
Annoyed. I like that word, annoyed. Sad, mad, small. Sometimes people feel small. Do you know what that means? Yeah, it means they're not understood, or it means they feel like they're not being listened to. Yes?
Or it can mean like, let's say someone's bigger than you and they're teasing you, and you start to feel small
And you-
because you're smaller than
So
them.
you could really be smaller. And if someone bigger than you is teasing you, that could really hurt your feelings, right? Yeah. The boy thought a little while about the golden rule. I think I get it. There are lots of things I can do. I should tell the truth because I don't want to be lied to. I want people to listen to me, so I should listen to other people. When I'm sick or when I'm tired or I need help, I can ask for help. And I can also offer my help to other people when they need it. Yes, said Grandfather, you're really getting the idea now. Grandpa, the golden rule is a very big thing, isn't it? Yes, it's very big, and it's very small, and it's very old. It's been around for thousands and thousands of years. Well, then, I don't think everybody's probably practicing it the way they should, said the little boy. Otherwise, maybe we wouldn't have so many problems between people and countries. Oh, said Grandpa, you're right. I wonder how we could change things if everyone lived by the golden rule, if everyone was nicer and kinder, if everyone listened and they paid attention to their friends and family. So I'm going to ask you guys that question. What would be different if we all lived by the golden rule? Yes.
There'd be no war.
There might not be any wars. I see another hand down there. Yeah?
There would be a lot less fights.
There would be a lot less fights. Yeah? What do you think? People would be happier if we followed the golden rule. And what do you think?
No one would rob places.
No one would rob places. Yeah? What else? I hear something way down on the end. What do you guys think it would be like if we all followed the golden rule? You think that people would act better? Yeah? And I see one more hand. People would stop hurting others. So as you guys go to your classes, can you think about how you can live by the golden rule? What are some things that you can do, just everyday things, to live by the golden rule, to be nicer to each other? Yes.
Be nice to others.
Be nice to others. Thank you, guys. I think we all could do that, huh? Be nicer to others. Okay, let's go. You're going to go off to your classes. We're going to sing. Thank you.
Peace to you on your way. May you grow in love each day. Meeting new friends and opening your minds to the wonders of the world you find. To the wonders of the world you find.
Let's all take a breath in and let that air out. And do it one more time. Breath in and let that out. And feel yourself right here in this space with these people. Join me in the spirit of prayer, in meditation, or in whatever word you use when you center yourself and you let yourself move out towards others. I offer you this prayer. source of sources, that which is larger than words allow. Mother Spirit, beautiful goddess, come close. Be with me and these people now. Come close as we stand on the precipice, nearing a day of decision. We are facing hard days of struggle for our nation's very soul. Come close. We find ourselves looking inward, looking to each other, looking to all fronts for wisdom and for guidance. Draw near, for we know not what comes next. We know not how to mend the wounds of this nation. We know not how to heal our broken and bruised democracy. O source of sources, draw near and help us as we take steps to move forward. Shift us ever so gently so that we may become united in spirit and begin to trust one another again. On this day, Mother Goddess, on all days moving forward, help us to look to ourselves and to look into each other's eyes. Help us to recognize that we must find ways to join together as we never have joined together before. Help us to know these things, for we must fall upon each other if we're going to build the future we dream of. Source of sources, we know that if we tried alone, we would surely fail. That if we stay separated, we will face certain defeat. But together, help draw us together so that we may redeem our country's greatest hopes, to be one nation, to be respectful and loving of all people, to hold those thoughts deeply on our hearts and in our minds as we hope for a beautiful future together. Let us join together now in a moment of silence with those thoughts as we move into our future. Amen, amen, amen.
Vente amor, ven hacia mí, ya corazón, cántale tu compasión, sobre al volar, sube en la mar, hasta molear la justicia de la vida. Arráigame, libérame, fuente de amor, ven a mí, ven a mí. Spirit of life, come to me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the haggard, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Each month we share the plate, and in November we are so pleased and proud to share with the Metro DC chapter of PFLAG, Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. Our Sunday collection is split. 70% goes directly to the Share the Plate recipient, and 30% will support the ongoing work of UUCA. PFLAG's message, Keeping Families Together, is one of acceptance, inclusion, and love for LGBTQ people, their friends, and family members. They offer community, support, information, and opportunities for activism to their members and friends via a board of directors and community groups. Working together, PFLAG helps people gain a deeper understanding of gender and sexual orientation. Their work assists individuals and families in moving past many of the religious and cultural obstacles that LGBTQ people face as they build lives grounded in compassion and acceptance, and I might say in gratitude for and celebration of queer community. PFLAG helps people form a vision of functioning, respectful, and loving families. There are several ways to give here at UUCA. You can write a check to UUCA with Share the Plate in the memo line. You can go to uucava.org and click Donate on the top right of the page. You can scan the QR code in your order of service, and as Rev CTC always says, we do accept cold hard cash. So we invite you then to be as generous as you are able this morning. The ushers will receive your gifts as we receive gifts of music from our musicians. It's really nice that we could swing by a jazz club on our way to church today. So ushers bring our offering forward. I offer gratitude as well for all of the food donations that I saw coming in this morning for the little free food pantry. Keep them coming. We are going to open it up well stocked, I think. I invite you to join me in our offering blessing. We bless and receive these gifts, opening our hearts to true generosity. Let us be grateful when we give, be it time, talent, or treasure. Let us be grateful for our needs and the experience of vulnerability. Let us be grateful for those who share their gifts to nurture this congregation. We have two short readings this morning that Rev CTC brought to prepare us for the sermon today. The first is titled Surviving Together, and it is a call to community, living in community, keeping our faith alive in community, holding fast to each other in our communities. The second, spiritual practice as a coping mechanism, reminds us that we never suffer alone and that things, no matter how dark, will always get better. Surviving Together by Kate Landis, an excerpt from Stubborn Grace, Faith, Mental Illness, and Demanding a Blessing. We live in a strange age. Certainly, different tribes have warred like the Israelis and Palestinians since the beginning of time. The world has always been a violent place. My own country was founded on the genocide of Native people. But now the whole world is our village. Now, with my smartphone, I can see the agony of our human siblings across the world. Watch the children fleeing from airstrikes in Syria, old women dying of hunger in Yemen, teenage gunshot victims being carried from a U.S. high school in real time. How can our minds conceive of this level of sorrow? How can our hearts not break every moment? Terrible things have always happened, but now we witness nearly every loss. The only way we survive this modern agony is together. We need a community of kind people we can grasp hold of when the grief of being alive right now threatens to sweep us away. People we can mourn with when being human is almost unbearably painful. I turn to my church family when I feel this deep sorrow, and I am embraced. We light candles and sing our morning songs, and sometimes God herself shows up to remind us that while life is often very difficult, it can also be beautiful, especially when we see holiness in each other's faces. We practice our faith together, trying to be kind, trying to forgive, trying to be awake in the midst of suffering. We lean into our faith tradition and into each other. Spiritual practice as a coping mechanism. An excerpt from Held, Showing Up for Each Other's Mental Health by Barbara F. Myers. While many treatments, practices, and lifestyle changes can aid in recovery from mental health problems, studies have shown that one of the most important is spirituality. Spiritual practice is one of the primary coping mechanisms for people with such problems. Many people can find hope in the faith that they are being held by someone or something larger than themselves. This might be God, the human spirit, or the universe. This faith is at the core of many addiction recovery programs, including 12-step programs. It can allow them to surrender to an entity that receives them unconditionally, to know that they do not suffer alone, and to hope that things can get better. People need spiritual community not just because they're lonely. They need to be included in a congregation's spiritual development opportunities, both formal and informal. For instance, both the sermon and conversations about it in coffee hour afterward.
We are blessed with amazing music in this congregation. Thank you all. Thank you. So Sophia, Topher, and Mr. Katz are swinging out up here. You have no idea how much fun me and Amanda have when the band is hot. So we are going to go to the polls in 2 days. Those who didn't vote early, some of you at home may not have voted yet. This sermon is going to have a little political implication in it, so I shall begin with a giant disclaimer. If indeed I speak of any candidate positively or negatively, this is my opinion. I am not asking you to vote for a specific person or to not vote for a specific person. I'm not asking you to donate in this last rush of emails, phone calls, and text messages to a specific person or not to donate to a specific person. And now let the sermon begin. When my son was a toddler, my grandson was a toddler, he went to bed fearlessly. After a full day of doing what toddlers do, of playing, of circle time, of being in the sweet, silly company of other toddlers, after he had dinner, came the most beautiful ritual of toddlerhood, bedtime. A warm bath with boats and duckies. Fresh jammies were waiting for him upstairs, a dusting of baby powder, that smell that everybody knows exactly what it is. He had brown curly hair, and some of the powder always ended up in his hair. There was a moment in my grandson's life when he was learning to do the things, so he would dry himself. I got it, I can do it, but he would still be wet. So there were white powdered handprints on his body from trying to powder his still wet, tiny frame. Once he was all ready and he had his jammies on, he would go downstairs and climb into the lap of the nearest adult. He would snuggle in deeply and ask, "Read now." He would ask for a book. His chubby little hands held those thick cardboard books, you know, that ones that are not quite real pages, but they're about this thick so little fingers can turn them. He would sit there enthralled that he was about to read. And then very seriously, he would point out and name the things on the pages that he knew. Bird, 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 bird. Cookie, Cookie Monster, like cookies. Cookie, cookie. And always, whether he was on the pages or not, Elmo was in the story that was being read. Elmo had a great significant place in my grandson's life. His favorite book, though, was a book that I made for him. It was named Andrew's Adventures. It was photographs of Andrew, of him, doing all the things that he loved to do. Andrew in the splash pool, Andrew on the slide, me swim. He could read that book over and over, again and again, with such joy. What I loved more than anything about reading with Andrew was the self-love he exhibited when reading Andrew's adventures. The idea that he was so thrilled with himself, seeing his own picture, and thought he was wonderful was beautiful. This beginning of self-love, of feeling his own value, started when he was a toddler. Dinner, bath time, lotion, powder, fresh pajamas, all important parts of the bedtime puzzle. A warm lap and a book were the final steps until the words, night-night. Now, when you first say night-night, it's a question from me to him. Night-night? And he would look at me in awe, in wonder, and nod. Night-night, And then his entire frame would make it an announcement, because he loved going to bed. Night-night, Gigi! Night-night! And that's when his parents knew it was time to scoop him up, carry him upstairs to that warm, dark toddler den, and put him away to bed. He wasn't afraid of the dark. Andrew was and is fearless at bedtime. I myself don't like the dark. I never have. I avoid it whenever I can. I have nightlights in every single room of my house. The bathroom, the hallway, the kitchen, more than one in the living room and dining room area because there's more than one outlet that I could put them into. I'm one of those people who can fall asleep reading a book with the bedside table on and wake up in the morning and the light is still on. I would prefer to have the light shining. I sleep soundly in the glow of that bedside lamp. As a small child, my parents came in and had to go through the Carol checklist in the evening. There are no monsters in your room. Let's look. There are no monsters in the closet. There are no monsters under the bed. There are no monsters behind the drapes or the blinds. They used a flashlight quite often, and they solemnly would tell me there were no monsters any place in my room. Check again, I would say. And they would. They would check again. There's no monsters under the bed. There's no monsters behind the drapes. Everything is as it should be, Carol. Go to sleep. Actually, I never believed them. When they left the room, I put my light on and then I laid back down. I do not go fearlessly into the good night like my grandson. I've been afraid of the nighttime darkness for as long as I can remember. What's been comforting is to learn that I'm not alone in this fear of the dark. A ministerial colleague of mine, Reverend Hines, writes that since ancient times, people have tried to create light amidst the darkness. Why? Why do we go looking for the light? Fear of the dark? Perhaps. But maybe because what light symbolizes is more than chasing away the darkness. Maybe because it symbolizes our hope and our longing for things to be well. That no matter how harsh the world is around us, no matter how cold the hearts seem, no matter how dark the days, we won't give up the light of hope that brings us comfort and the courage we need to persevere. Today, it is hard to be hopeful. Our world seemingly is on fire. And as we face these midterm elections and turbulent times, it's so hard to stay hopeful. In our very hearts, we are worrying about the future of our democracy. And here begins the portion I warned you about previously. We have a reason to be worried, guys. The world is not only on fire, Georgia has lost its mind entirely. Pennsylvania is close behind them, and there are a number of other states and there are a number of other political candidates that I will not name or I try not to name that we know are in trouble. The world is on fire. Our democracy is indeed in danger. In their best-selling 2018 text, How Democracies Die, authors Stephen Levitsky and Daniel Ziblaff ask the question and answer it very, very directly. Is our democracy in danger? It's a question, the authors say, we never thought we would be asking about America. We've been colleagues for 15 years, thinking, writing, and teaching students about failures of democracy in other places and in other times. Europe's dark 1930s, Latin America's repressive 1970s. We have spent years researching new forms of authoritarian behavior emerging around the globe. For us, how and why democracies die has been an occupational obsession. And now we find ourselves turning to our own country. It's shocking, but in the past 2 years, we've watched politicians say and do things that are unprecedented in the United States, but that we recognize as having been the precursors of democratic crises in other places. We feel dread, as do so many other Americans, even as we try to reassure ourselves that things can't really be that bad here because it's America. After all, even though we know that democracies are always fragile, the one that we live in has somehow managed to defy gravity. Our Constitution, our national creed of freedom and equality, our historically robust middle class, our high levels of wealth and education, our large, diversified private sector, all these things we thought inoculated us from a democratic breakdown that has occurred in other places. But we worry. American politicians now treat their rivals as enemies. They intimidate the free press. They threaten to reject the results of elections outright. They try to weaken the institutional buffers of our democracy, including the courts, the intelligence services, the ethical offices. The great jurist Louis Brandeis said, "Laboratories of democracy are in danger of becoming places where electoral rules are null and void. Redrawn constituencies are held in peril. We are even rescinding voting rights because we want to ensure that people do not lose." And in 2016, for the first time in U.S. history, a man with no experience whatsoever, little observable commitment to constitutional rights, and clear authoritarian tendencies was elected president of the United States. Our democracy is in danger, these authors write. But what does this all mean? Are we living through the decline and fall of one of the world's oldest and most successful democracies? Is it out of our control completely? Well, what it means is we have to call on our own resilience and personal reserves to make sure democracy does not disappear. We are people of character. We are people of resilience. We have amazing fortitude. Whatever happens on Tuesday, when you wake up on Wednesday, you will be able to handle it. You may not like it. It may not be the people that you expected to win. There may be changes that come after Tuesday as a result of the votes once they're counted. You are resilient, though. You have fortitude. You understand that we have to work together to evoke change. We live in the midst of terrible, terrible times. There is no doubt. Day after day doesn't feel right. often we are afraid. And the people that we usually lean on and run to comfort to, well, gosh, they seem to be afraid now too. It is hard. The world is on fire. But we can't let these days be the ones that set the tone for all of our days. Because if we do, we are wasting the greatest gift that we have all been given, the gift to simply be here, to breathe, to live, to exist together. Even in such precarious times, it is up for each one of us to determine exactly how much living we're going to keep doing. This is the Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm part of the sermon. Yes, it is hard. My gosh, I just read 2 paragraphs that make me want to cry. If people are thinking that democracy is in danger like it was in the 30s, like it was in the 70s in Latin America, we really are on fire, guys. But we still get to make a choice. A choice for love, a choice for beauty, the choice to support one another as we try to move through these precarious times. I know that the election on Tuesday isn't promised to any of us. And that very unpredictability is reason enough for me to spend part of today and part of tomorrow and part of Tuesday reveling in what is the joy of being here. I guarantee on Wednesday when you wake up, you'll be okay. I can't guarantee it will be easy because there's that Georgia and Pennsylvania and there's stuff happening. But I can guarantee you this, these people will still be here wanting to be in relationship with you and wanting to be of service to other people with you. As Unitarian Universalists, our faith affirms and promotes 7 principles that tie us to one another. We emphasize reason and faith in the unknown. We emphasize freedom for everyone who is seeking to find their way. We want you to move as your conscience dictates you to move through the world. We also emphasize love. And gosh, we want you outside when you're raking leaves, smiling. We have no choice but to persevere through the days ahead. At the 9:15 sermon, I used the idea of a particular candidate riding on a bull in a bar, and the bull is going around, and he's holding tight to it. What I said to them at 9:15, I will say to you. You are the bull. Spin faster. Spin faster. Believe in yourself that you can make a difference. Eject those who should not be in office. Shift the lens. And don't forget to embrace joy. Our faith calls on us to make a change. Our faith calls on us to base that change in sound reason and to make changes steeped in love. I leave you with a few things you can do to get through the next 3 days. Clean out your kitchen cabinets, guys. You got a lot of busy time. There's a lot of MSNBC going on. There's a lot of CNN. Please go to your kitchen cabinets and clean them out. If that's not your job, it's even better for the person whose job it normally is. Get all those canned goods, all those things out of those cabinets that you don't really eat, that you don't need, that you don't want, that you could possibly donate to someone. Put them in a box. Next, go to your closet. You probably have 24 sweaters. Between now and March, you will wear 4. I guarantee you, you will wear the 4 same sweaters because they match your pants and your shoes and your skirts and your jacket and that one scarf. Put the rest of the sweaters in a bag. Put the extra gloves and the hats and the mittens in a bag. Here's the key to donating, though. Put the bag and the box in your car. If you put things in bags and boxes with good intentions, they will sit in your house. I had a box of food in my house that went from the kitchen to the front door. It was in the way of the front door opening, so I just pushed it aside. I didn't put it in the car. It sat next to the sofa for another 2 weeks. I moved it back in front of the door. I then moved it away from the door to go out the door to come to church. Go through your closets, go through your cabinets, donate some of the many things that you have to someone who needs a few things, and be nice to each other. If it's not your job to make sure the oil is changed in the car, take it on. If you aren't the one who normally takes the trash out, say to your beloved, I got this. You have no choice but to take care of each other so you can stay resilient, not just till Tuesday, not just when you wake up on Wednesday morning. For the rest of our lives together, we have to take care of each other. I'm going to close my sermon in a way that I closed it earlier this morning. I often talk to my children on Saturday when I'm about to preach, and my son is always the one that says to me, are you going to sing? And I always lie and say no. He said, well, if you're going to sing it, he gave me a song. I get by with a little help from my friends. I'm going to try with a little help from my friends. Take that with you. We are in this together. We need to help each other to move forward. You indeed are people of goodwill who are resilient and strong. I'm asking you, I'm expecting you, particularly in the next few days, to take good care of each other, to find ways to bless the world in large and small steps, to be compassionate, and to remember that being of service is a cure for anxiety. We need to stick together in the days ahead and always. Please take that thought with you. Amen, amen, and amen.
And now I invite you to rise in body and or spirit and turn to hymn 131 in your gray hymnal, Love Will Guide Us.
Love will guide us, peace has brought us, hope has brought us, will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has dried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Leave this place knowing the person on the left of you, the person on the right of you wants to be in relationship with you. Leave this place knowing you get to make every single mistake, be forgiven, and start all over again. Leave this place knowing that on Wednesday morning we will be fine. We might be angry. It may be hard to deal with, but we will take care of each other and get through it. Leave this place knowing, most importantly of all, you are never on the journey of life alone. Leave this place knowing these things.
1, 2, 2.